Yo, welcome back. So I've been thinking about art a lot recently, and I would love to make art a business, and I think a lot of people would, right? A lot of people who enjoy making art, enjoy consuming art, they would love to have art as a business, as their career, right? But I don't know, I feel like art and business are kind of, in a way, polar opposites. In a way, they're kind of two sides of a coin. So what really is art? So to me, I think art is the expression of yourself, right? It's trying to put into reality as accurately as you can what's going on internally in your brain, in your personal human experience. Art is a way to express that experience and share it with others. And obviously art is subjective, right? There's no good art, there's no bad art. There's only, I guess, accurate and inaccurate art, which I guess is subjective. It depends person to person. But an artist is there to serve the art, right? What's the main goal of art? It's to most accurately represent that internal experience, like I said. That's the main purpose of art. That is kind of the fundamental purpose of art by definition. That is why we make art. That's why we've always made art. That's how it works. That's what humans do. We just want to share what we feel. We do it in any way we can, whether that's painting or making content or illustration or anything, any sort of medium, fashion, writing, whatever. Right? It's all the same. It's just a different form. Where an artist serves the art, a businessman serves the customers. An artist, you could say, serves themselves because they want to most accurately represent themselves into their work. In a business, you want to most accurately, it's not even about accuracy at all. The sole purpose or the main purpose is to be profitable. Art is about the creator. Business is all about the consumer, right? So that's kind of, in my opinion, at least, that's what I think separates the two. So there may be overlap. There's always overlap with things, and nothing is solid, nothing is concrete. We don't know these definitions, but this is just the best way that I can describe my opinion of what I think this is. So of course art can become business. There is overlap, right? If you think of musicians, most of them, their career is their art. But it's important to be intentional about what you're doing. You have to decide whether you are making a business or you're making art. Because if you decide you want to do business, then cool. You can go for it. You can run statistics, use AI, and do all the maths and calculations, and like build a perfect functional funnel and all that stuff, right? And in a way that is artistic too, to a degree, but it's more based on facts. It's more based on objectivity, like what do people like in a group of 1,000 people. What are they most likely going to buy, sort of thing. That's business. Art is the opposite. If you want to make art, every decision, if you truly want to create like pure art, the decisions should be about what is going to serve the art better, what's going to make the art better. Not if people are going to like it, or if people are going to fuck with it, or if people, are going to buy it, or even enjoy it, or see it in the first place, right? It should be about what is simply the best, the purest form of expression. Like, what is that? That's the decisions that you should be making if you're making art. Do you see how these two things are kind of completely different? But a lot of times in the world, people kind of think that they're maybe not the same, but very, very similar, with a lot of overlap, when in reality they're kind of two poles of creation, two polar opposite sources of creation. And I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm interested personally, as I'm sure most of you are, in business and art. I love both. It's just I think that it's beneficial to separate the two. It's helpful to see them as completely separate from one another. It's impossible to simultaneously make the best art you can and also make the best business decision as you can as well. At the same time, it's impossible. You can't do it because they contradict each other fundamentally. A decision that's going to make the art better is probably not going to also be the exact thing that you should do if you want to get reach or scale and stuff like that. Right? Does this make sense? I hope this makes sense. So if you try and do half of both, for example, I'm just going to talk about YouTube, right? Because this is what I mostly like to create. So if you try and make a YouTube video and like half of the time you're thinking, oh, I just want this to be the best video that I can, half of the decisions you're making is purely to serve the content, to make it so you like it the most. So it best represents, best expresses your internal experience, perspective. So if half of the time that you're doing that, and then the other half of the time you're making decisions based on what's going to get the most views or what's the most, I guess, acceptable thing to say, then you're likely going to fall short of both. There's just less overlap than one might assume, right? And it's a good way to know if what you're doing is business or is art. What are you basing your decisions on? Is it all based on one? Or is it all based on the other? Or is there a mix of both? Because of course, most things are a mix of both, right? Of course they are. We're very, very complex, obviously. But I just thought it was a really interesting sort of thought that I had. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed listening to me yap about it for a little bit. Because yeah, I guess the key takeaway is being intentional about what you're making and kind of understand that if you want to make art, you should really, really prioritize whatever you think is the best art over anything else. And that's how you really get like a pure sort of essence of art. And if you're into business, then it's the opposite, right? That's kind of how you know if what you're doing is business or is art. And paradoxically, making these decisions that serve the art is probably more likely for it to become a business later on down the line because it's better, it's more pure. But I just wanted to get it out there into the universe. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later. Goodbye.